Hello, today I'm talking about some of the best advice I received before I moved to the UK. Either before I moved or when I had just moved. What I think works and what I think is very important to know. Welcome to my channel, Abroad Perspective. My name is Karen Ekwang and here I share my journey of relocation, what I've learned, what I've experienced. We just talk all things about relocation. So the first thing I'll tell you about, and this advice I received from my co-wife. In my culture, the wife of your brother's husband, you call them a co-wife, like sister-in-law, but we call them co-wife. So from my co-wife, she's a very good friend of mine, and she told me, she's a GP, she's a medical practitioner, and she told me, Karen, relocation is ranked number 3 highest stress trigger. Number 1 is grief. Number 2 is divorce. Number 3 is relocation. Let that sink in. Think about that student who has come abroad alone and is navigating life alone. Think about your sister, your brother, your friend who has moved abroad alone or has even moved with a family like me. Relocation is number 3 stress trigger. To be honest, at the point she was telling me, I was just like, oh yeah, that's good to have in mind. But later, I was glad she told me that. Now, I have to put a caveat. Not everybody is completely stressed by relocation. No. My experience was different. My husband's experience is completely different. He's lived, I think, in 3 countries. He's never experienced extreme stress. I'm not saying everybody experiences stress or depression or it's completely hard for everybody. It depends. My daughter, I think children also handle it very well. She just settled right away. She didn't have an issue. But me, and as I continue sharing my story, you will understand that relocation is actually a really high stress trigger. Like, don't underestimate what it takes to live your life in a place that you're used to, in a place that is comfortable, in an environment that you're used to, and move to a completely whole different country, culture, everything is different. I'm glad she told me that because it made sense in the following months, and then it helps to normalize the situation to be like, okay, I'm not out of my mind. This thing is actually stressful and I need to handle it in a certain way. So when you move, the first 3 months for me was bliss. It's honeymoon. It's like honeymoon. You're getting to know the new environment. You're learning new things. You're experiencing different things. And I think it's bliss the first few months. And then as the months go by and you're trying now to get your footing, you're trying to maybe get a job, you're trying to find out how you're gonna live, how you're gonna make sense of your life in this place, then it can start getting stressful. And especially for me, it got worse during winter. It was the first time I'm experiencing winter, experiencing the 4 seasons. And so now it started to really, really get worse during winter. And mind you, I have a very strong support system. My husband was completely supportive. Everyone at home was supportive. I went through a season of thinking, why am I even here? Like, why am I here? Will I ever settle? Will I ever get a job? Will life ever be the same? You miss home. You miss home. You miss the kind of life you're used to. You had set up your life in a certain way, and here you have to start afresh. People are not as social as you're used to. You had a community. You have to start building a community from scratch. I'm trying to look for a job. I'm wondering whether I should continue in my current career path or change my career path. Like, it's a lot to take in. So extend grace to yourself during that period. And that's the time I remembered. She said it's the number 3 stressor. So have that in mind. And if you have a loved one, a friend, family who has relocated, please hold them. Hold their hand, check on them. Especially in the first few months, first few years they relocate, check on them, talk to them, keep them on the phone before you build a community here. I know at home we send students abroad and we just expect them to figure life out. They're trying to build friendships, they're trying to study, some have to work, some of them are really young, and I just imagine what they go through, guys. And especially in winter, it's not a walk in the park. Hold the hands of your friends, of your family who have relocated abroad. But two, this is advice I used to get constantly from one taxi driver who occasionally would carry us, and he said, don't be in a hurry to get a job. First, know your surroundings. Understand how to handle the pound. Understand what a 50-pound note, 10-pound note, 2 pence, 10 pence, 5p. And he was saying it jokingly. He's like, maybe have another baby. Don't be in a hurry to get a job. Don't be in a hurry. And I get his point. Take time to take in your surrounding. Take time to understand where you stay, understand the area around, walk around, attend events. Just know the area. Don't be in a rush to come here. And also, I'm saying, if you have the luxury to do that, and especially as a spouse, when you move as a dependent and your spouse can support you, take time to take in the surrounding around you, to try and get your footing in the culture, to try and build your community. Don't be in such a rush to get into the grind. Understand how they change when you go and pay in cash. What is 5 pence? What is 2 pence? Like, it's just the simple things. But I think in a deeper level, he was trying to say, settle down and try and understand the culture. Walk your kid to school, bring them back, settle down. Don't be in a rush. The other one, and this one my husband used to insist as well all the time, join activities and events taking place. Eventbrite, I know we all know that, is a good place to start, whether you're looking for kids activities or things to do during the week or things to do during the weekend. So find something to do around, get engaged, put yourself out there. Church is always a good place to start. Like, universally, church is always a good place to start. Find a community, join a cell group if you can. You also have to just put yourself out there. I know forming friendships in adulthood and trying to find a community in adulthood is not easy. Try and just put yourself out there. If your kids have friends and you're seeing that they are good friends, try and be friends with their parents. Try and be friends with your neighbors if possible, because here you can have a neighbor who you never see. You just know you have a neighbor, but who you never see. Me, I have neighbors who I've never seen. I just know they're somewhere. So put yourself out there, find activities, find things that are happening around and do it. Find things that you used to love doing at home and that you can do here as a hobby, or walking, running. I used to do that a lot. Find them. You will create a precious bond with your family, because it's like you've been put in this place and you just have each other. You will spend a lot of time with each other. Of course, mtakosana, but you will make up again and you'll spend so much time. You will bond with your kid. You know, in an earlier video, I talked about how childcare is one of the shocks that you get when you get here. But the bonding time that you get with your children, the time you get to spend with your children, I mean, it's priceless, I tell you. The time you get to spend with your partner as a family, it's just priceless. We used to go for walks, we used to go hiking. Like, you'll just find activities to do, you'll find things to do as a family, which is really nice. And I find that a lot of things are created around the family bond. Your career may not start at the same place you left it back home. You might have to start somewhere, and that somewhere might be lower. And I'm not saying you come and settle and take any job. No, that's not what I'm saying. And especially if you're the primary person moving, of course you've been sponsored to come and work here and all that. You are moving to upgrade your career and things like that, to upgrade your studies. But when you're moving as a partner or a spouse, it may not be the same kind of job you are doing. So be ready to start somewhere. It might be at a lower position, but the thing is, you just need to prove yourself. It's sort of like you're introducing yourself into this work environment, into this market. And then once you're there and you do your job, you can grow, and you will grow. So start from somewhere. But I'm not saying settle for anything. I'm not saying settle for anything. You know, there's this notion that when we come as Africans or people from certain areas, there are only certain kind of jobs that we can do, suddenly certain unskilled kind of jobs, and you might feel the push towards going to those jobs. But I urge you, keep your eye on the goal. Keep your eye on the goal. If you had a plan and a vision to get your career in a certain way, there are opportunities. It may take time to get to those opportunities, but get your foot in the door and then pursue them and prove yourself. So you may not start with where you had, but I also have to say, please don't just settle. There's nothing wrong with those jobs, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. Unskilled job, waitress jobs, cleaning jobs, care jobs, absolutely nothing. Like, those are amazing jobs, and there are people who have really, really excelled in those jobs. But if that's not what you wanted, keep your eye on the goal. Another thing about putting yourself out there and joining what's happening around, WhatsApp groups, like for Kenyans, for wherever country you're coming from, join them. So you'll meet people there. I met ex-colleagues who'd side chat and be like, oh, I'm here. So you find like a community, and you're like, well, I'm not alone. So join those WhatsApp groups, join those communities. You just never know what will be born out of it. Also, in putting yourself out there, like, no matter how reserved or introverted you are, try and put yourself out there. Ask people out. If you see someone you think you could be your friend, ask them out. Tell them, can we have coffee? Can we have lunch? I did that. By then, I put for myself a goal for building a community. And one of them was asking someone out for lunch or coffee once. I think I said once in a month or once in a quarter. Unbelievably, one of those asking someone out for a coffee, it just blossomed into such a beautiful relationship. We would meet every week. We would take a walk. I wasn't working, but they were not far from where I stay. We would take a walk, and at the end of that walk, we would pray, and it just blossomed into such a beautiful relationship. So put yourself out there. You just never know who you will meet. Pray. Pray before you move. Pray when you move. Pray. It's very important, especially before you pray, before you move. It's very important, especially before you move. Prepare yourself in prayer. Spend time with God. Let him reveal to you why he wants you to move, what he has in plan for you. You know, the time we spend with God, that's where he releases his plan for us. Pray. I'm really glad I took the time to pray before I moved. But also, even when you're here, when you have the time, pray. I can't emphasize that enough. Extend grace to yourself. My friend used to tell me, every time she'd call me, she'd be like, Karen, extend grace to yourself. I'd be like, this is not working, and I've tried this, and it's taking too long, and I don't know if I'll ever settle. She was like, extend grace to yourself. To be honest, you're doing a very hard thing. And especially, I'm talking to people who moved as dependents or spouses, or if you've moved alone, if you've moved abroad alone, extend grace to yourself. It's a hard thing you're doing. I have a group, we are 4 of us. We're in like a chama. So it's friendship. We used to work together that has just blossomed into a beautiful chama, and we support each other through different things. And so we usually have meetings. Once in a while on Zoom, because we're all in different places. And so we had this Zoom call, and I was going through it. It was around winter time. Like, I was just feeling hopeless about settling. And guys, I have a very strong support system. I have to keep insisting that, because it's still hard. And we joined that Zoom call, and the first thing they did is they gave me like an online standing ovation. I don't know if they know what I was going through at that moment. They were like, we stan you for moving out of your country and moving into a different country and settling your family and getting on with it in a whole new different country. You are brave, you are strong. We stan you, guys. I cried, I wept. They touched my heart. So I want to tell you the same thing. You're doing a hard thing. Please extend grace to yourself. Extend grace to yourself. And guess what? It gets better. Perspective. If you look at it from different lenses, yeah, you could think you're not settling, but also look at it like you've done something hard. You've done something brave. So extend grace to yourself. Final one. As and when you can, go back home, visit home. This is what I say. The sun, that African sun, is important for mental health. That African sun is very nice for mental health, at least for me. That's what I know. So as and when you can, go home. As and when you can, let your family visit you. Please let me know in the comment section what advice you would give someone who is settling, who is moved, who is moving, who is stressed, who is trying to find their way. Leave your comments in the comment section. I'd be glad to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe to A Broad Perspective.